Hey guys, I wanted to do a little comparison video between the Wurkkos HD11 and my Wuben L1. As you can see here, they both have kind of similar designs, but there are some important differences you need to be aware of if you're thinking about buying one of these. So yeah, let's firstly have a look at the head. So you've got this rotatable head on both, and I do find that the Wuben takes a little bit more force to turn, and I think that's actually a good thing because there's, it feels more sturdy, and plus, I think it's important to have low tolerances so that the heat can dissipate through. In my testing, I did find that the HD11 had better sustained output than the L1, but yeah, it doesn't produce as much light as the L1. So it's definitely seems to be driven a bit higher there. 21,700 cell for the L1 and 18,650 cell. So that's why the HD11 is a little bit smaller. The coating as well on the HD11 is nice, kind of grippy, grippy anodizing. Okay. But with the L1, it's shiny, it's nice, but it is a little bit slippery. It could do with a bit more, maybe some knurling here on the battery tube. You can see also with the design of the rotating head, you've got one light here, one LED here, and then one here on the top. So if you want to activate both of them, you can do that. Okay, but they're not going to be facing in the same orientation. Whereas with the HD11, you can activate all of these flood plus spot LEDs all in the same direction. Clip is pretty similar. Both have onboard charging. The interface is a bit different, and one thing I like about the HD11 is that it has a lock mode. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, there we go. So it locks the light out, which is important for me if I'm carrying this thing around my pocket. I did find with the L1, although it's very easy to activate modes because it's really just a press and hold kind of thing to switch between the different modes. There is no way to actually lock this light. So the only thing you can do is just unscrew the tail cap like that. Works pretty well, but it's just a little more inconvenient than having an electronic lock like you do on the HD11. So yeah, those are the main differences. The L1 does throw a little bit further as well because it's got that smooth reflector, a larger reflector in there. When you separate out those two LEDs, obviously you're just going to be able to maximize the performance with, separate larger lenses or reflectors compared to having them all under one roof like this one here. If I was forced to choose between either one of these, I think I'd actually go for the Wurkkos HD11 just because it's got a few more additional functions in there. You've got that red light, you've got that lock as well there. It's also smaller, so personally I prefer to carry around smaller flashlights. Okay, that does mean you get reduced battery capacity. But if you do want something that has better long range performance, the L1 is going to be a winner just because it's got that larger reflector in there. So let's have a look at the beam shots and see how they both perform side by side. Got the Wurkkos HD11 to the left and the Wuben L1 to the right, and this is on the highest spot beam for both. Okay, and yeah, as you can see, the Wuben to the right does throw further, but not by a huge amount, maybe by 50 or something meters. So let's have a look and see what happens as they start to step down. But really at the moment, I'd say they're really pretty similar. But I know the Wuben, when I previously tested it, did step down quite fast. So now if I compare them both, been running for a little bit of time. This is just the spot beam alone. I would say the Wurkkos is actually brighter. It's actually out throwing. If we compare that, that's the Wuben, and that's the Wurkkos. Wuben L1, Wurkkos HD11, and looking at the back of those trees as well. This is the Wuben L1, and it's just barely reaching the back of the trees now, but that's my HD11, and it's still hitting the back of those trees pretty easily. So notice now the Wuben is starting to step up a little bit, but yeah, surprising. I mean, the L1 on the spot beam does start off winning, but steps down pretty quickly. And the HD11 seems to be the winner at the end of the day. Let's have a look at the flood beams now. Okay, so this is just the flood beam on my HD11. Okay, not, you know, not too much. I mean, I can see it sort of illuminates some of the shrubs out the front, but it's difficult to really picture. Here is the Wurkkos. Here's the Wuben L1, and you know, because it does have that larger lens in there, larger TIR lens, you can see it actually produces a more focused hotspot in the center. So that beam travels a bit further. Compare that to the HD11 here, you know, more of a smooth beam. Difficult to kind of highlight here on camera, but you get the general idea.